Today we're going to go over some basic functions of how to use dot loop with Homestar. So by now you have taken your webinar training with Century 20 with dot loop on their particular webinar series so that you know the basic understanding of how dot loop works, or you have previous experience from a different brokerage or whatnot. Okay, so when you get added to our particular portal, you'll get an invitation and you should see Century 21 Homestar Premium as your default account. If it's not your default account because you had other accounts, you're going to go over to the right-hand side of your screen, toggle between your personas until you find the Century 21 Homestar one and make that your default account by clicking on your profile there. Okay, then you'll always get put into this one. You can always find your previous stuff if you were a dot loop user before under your other personas over there. When you're in dot loop and you want to start a new loop, you're going to click add a loop, and then you're either going to put in an address or you're going to put in the buyer's name, or we'll just use, well, we can't use me. You just use a fictitious person, for example. So we'll just say we're going to do no street. If there happened to be a property that had the address of 112233 No Street in Ohio, it would pull up. If not, this is what you're going to see. It's going to ask you to grab your loop template. So do you want to do a listing template or a purchase template or a lease template? A lot of people say, well, I just want to put it in as the buyer or the seller because I want to start some stuff. It's okay. You can still do this because even if you don't have an address, you can make it the person's name and get all the documents and stuff. If you do have a photo, you can put it there. Otherwise, you're just going to put done. Once you get to this particular thing, you're going to click on View Loop over here. And then we'll see your address at the top, that it's the purchase template. And as you download, you could also see other templates there. If you needed to change it, you could change your loop status here, and you can click on View Details to add some details. Before we get to the View Details tab, I want to show you what's in here. So all of your documents are in here. There's your purchase agreement and so on. You got a buyer checklist right there. You have your consumer guide. You have your agency agreements and so on. So everything's in here. So even if you're starting with a buyer to begin with, you could, like I said, name this their name because you don't have an address yet. And you still have your consumer guide and your agency agreement and your preferred vendor page to send out to them. Under the View Details section here, you're going to see, should see your name there. You won't see this admin for Century 21 Homestar because that's me putting documents in and stuff like that. But you will see your thing. And then you can always add people or change things here. So when you click on Add People, you can put in Betty Buyer's name. And then you can put their email in. And their role. And their role could be that they're the buyer, or maybe they're the seller, or the admin, or whoever they are. This is your speed thing. Oops, sorry, I made them the agent. I'm going to make them the buyer. Okay, you can also add more details. So the more details that you add in this section, the more things are going to fill in on your documents. So you go through each person that you're dealing with, and once you get done, you're going to hit the word save, which I can't get to. Add person. There we go. And then you go on and you add another person. So you put your list agent in if you know them. If you don't know them, that's fine. You just start here. You can always go back here and add people. if you know the address of the property that you're doing the offer for, you're going to add all the pertinent information here. And like I said, the more information that you put in this view details section, the more is going to populate automatically into your documents. Okay. Once you get done, you're going to hit save. Then you go up to the top on the left-hand side and you click back to loop. So now we're going to go to the buyer agency agreement here, and we're going to select Betty Buyer. And her information is now going to get added into the document there. So see how easy that is? Once the more information you put in the view details section, the more it's going to fill in to your stuff here. Okay. When you're in your document, maybe you only want to do this particular document. We're going to choose the term. And we're going to, what is now? We're going to go from July 7th to and then we'll just go to the 31st there. Just to be done. Section number 3, commission. This is where you're going to put your percentage in there of how much you want to make or your dollar amount. The $350 is already on this particular buyer agency agreement and so on. Then it's going to give you the sections for the people to sign and for you to print their name. Again, see it says assign field here. You're going to assign that to Betty Buyer, right? Betty Buyer's name is already printed here. If you don't see Betty Buyer's name printed here, that's because you didn't use the fill-in fields. But that's okay. You can always fill in by hand. Okay. Here is where the agent's going to sign. So you can assign the field, and I'll assign it to myself because I would be the agent here, right? I didn't put in my details, but I could do so here. And so on. You can put the license number, the phone number, and things like that. So you can always do that. Once you're done with that, you can either hit save and share or just save. We're going to hit save because we're going to go back to our documents. And it's going to prompt you when you try and get out of there. This hasn't been shared yet. Do you want to share it? No, I don't. Not at this time. Okay. So we got our buyer agency agreement and it says it's not shared yet. We have our consumer guide and that has not been shared yet. We're going to go back to our consumer guide. And we're going to assign this to Betty Buyer. And then we're going to hit save. And then we're going to go back and it's going to ask us again if we want to share it. No, we don't. Okay. So now we have 2 documents that we filled out, our pertinence to begin with. You have your warranty and vendor. You could say we're going to send that to them too, right? So you're in your thing. You filled out all the information on them. Now, how do you send them to get the signature? You're going to click the box next to the document that you want to send. If you click this box right here, you're sending every single thing that is in your loop. And you don't want to do that because maybe you have private information in there. You do not want to be sharing that with other people. Maybe these documents haven't been filled out yet, so you don't want to do that. You only want to check mark the box for the things that you're going to send at that time. Then you're going to hit the word share. It's going to say, are you sure this is Betty Buyer? Yes, they have 2 fields that they can sign, right? And that's all you're giving them permission to do is sign. If you needed to send this to an agent and you wanted them to be able to change things, you could either do can edit in private or can fill and sign. So for instance, can fill and sign is what you're going to use when you're sending a property disclosure over to a seller, because the only person that can touch that property disclosure in this system is the seller. Down here on the left-hand side, see this thing that says attach PDF to the email? You click that, and then there will be a PDF version of the documents also attached in the email. Then you hit share. Now it says the documents have been shared and they're waiting on others. Now, Betty Buyer isn't a real person, so there's no way that we can actually see where that went or who got it. but I sent it to bettybuyer@gmail.com. Hopefully there isn't actually somebody like that, or they're going to be signing these documents. Once they get signed, you will see a thing that says signed. Or maybe one person has signed and someone else hasn't signed. Maybe you got the buyers to sign, but now you're waiting. See how it says waiting for Betty Buyer to sign? Because she hasn't signed yet, right? Once she does sign, you can assign this to the listing agent. Maybe this is part of your offer and your buyer has to sign it. Once the buyer signs it all and you see all the signatures on the documents, then you can share them over to the listing agent and they can have their seller sign the documents. Once you have all the documents that you have signed, we're just going to choose a bunch of them here. And grab the purchase agreement there. Oh, let's grab this one. It's the newest one. And you want to share a bunch of things to the office. You're going to hit the word share. And you're going to make sure that you have added the office so that they can get it. Maybe you forgot to do that in the beginning. You can click add another person. So the name here is going to be Adam or office admin. The email is going to be c21homestar@gmail.com because that's where everything goes once it gets signed. And notice if you already had someone previously into your system before, you could always choose from there. Please don't send anything to me directly like this because it will be blocked. I cannot see anything in the admin section. Always send everything to the main. And we're just going to put admin as there, and then we're going to give them all permissions just in case. Only the admin, right? Once you hit share, then it'll pop up into our email and we'll be able to see them. Okay. See, if you click this attach PDF down at the bottom, then we're also going to get a PDF with the documents. Okay. So because of the fact that Betty's still checkmarked here, we're going to uncheck her so that only Adam is going to get these documents, right? So make sure you're paying attention to the fact that previous people were already checkmarked too, because we don't want to resend these to the buyer that way. We want to just send them to the office. Once you hit share, it'll go out to the office and we'll be able to see it. This is the only way. We do not see anything that's in your loops. We can't see them. If you click the button that says submit for review, I don't even know where that is now. Let me pull this open. Oh, I don't know what happened to that. I don't know where the submit for review thing is. Oh, there it is up there. Sorry, I was at the wrong place. Once you select all these documents up here, if you click this button that says submit for review, all it does is send me a note. Someone's trying to send you something. It doesn't work. So please don't use this. Okay. Always send everything to c21homestar@gmail.com. This is a short version of how to create a loop and work a loop through your dot loop system. Please make sure, like I said, that you are only sending out the things that you actually want to send by clicking the little buttons next to them. Okay, you'll always see this. Maybe you want to add a document because you need to add the property disclosures. You need to download the property disclosures from the MLS as a PDF onto your computer. Then you're going to hit the browse at the top, and then you're going to go to wherever your downloads are and grab that particular property disclosure. Once you click open, it'll open up and the document will be in here. Now, because it's a PDF form, you're not going to be able to, you will have to add the bubbles to that. That's going to be the next session. We are not talking about that today. This is it for your quick review of how to start a loop in .loop. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and I'll talk to you soon. Hope you have a great day.